Game situations, communication, bonus scenarios. Okay, very important, because in the amateur game, okay, we don't want correctable errors. In the professional game, we certainly don't want correctable errors, because it's a way different rule, and it's a complicated rule. Okay, so so you got to know the bonus. You got to know the bonus. If you're working an NCAA, I'll give you an example. If you're working an NCAA men's game and you have a Class B technical foul and they put it up there as a team foul, you got beep, beep, beep. That's Class B. Take it down. If you're working a FIBA game and you call a technical foul on bench personnel, those don't count as team fouls. They have to take it down. Right? If you're working an NCAA women's game and you have an administrative technical foul and they put it up, you got to take it down. If you're working a professional game and you have an offensive foul or a double foul and they put it up as a team foul, you got to take it down. So you got to know the bonus. And in communication, like, hey, Sean, they got 1 to give. Hey, Marty, they got 2 to give. Or I might go just 2 to give, 1 to give, 2 to give, because we don't want to get in those scenarios. Status of clocks. Okay, when that shot clock's winding down, you got to be ready, because if that ball don't hit that ring, you got to be ready. Okay, or differentials. A lot of times at the lower levels we don't have replay and monitors, so we gotta beat. It's almost like we're beating the monitor, so you gotta be ready for that. So you got to know your differentials, and then when you have a monitor, right, you're going to be even better. Okay, so you got to know your status of your clocks. Also, status of clocks, which we never think about. We never talk about. Hey, 6 seconds to go in the game. Shot clock's off. Right? Who's the go-to player out here? Okay, they're going to probably go to them. We got to be ready. We got to be ready if they get the shot off on time. Is it 2 versus 3, and so on. Penalties. Do you know all your penalties? This is communication. For example, I'll give you a pro play, because I know we don't talk about pro basketball and a lot of these things, but someone's driving to the basket and you call a flagrant foul 1, right? You go to replay, 2 out of 3 got to agree. So we're going to shoot 2. We know that. Okay. But after that play's over, someone else throws that player to the ground. So now we got options. So we say, okay, we'll go to the replay, and we have another flagrant foul 1 on a different player. So we got to communicate. Oh, 4 shots. Wait a second, everybody. It's not 4 shots. By the way, the ball didn't go in. It's 4 to make 3. Okay, I'm confused. I'm like, what? Yes, 4 to make 3. So, something like that, or, someone's driving to the basket and the ball goes in the basket and you have an intentional foul and it goes in, and you're doing a FIBA game, go, oh, it's 2 shots. No, it went in, it's 1 shot. But if you're doing a high school fed game, it's 2 shots. Okay. And I'm just giving you some rule differences and just playing around with rule differences right here. Because I've seen a lot of high school games, someone drives to the basket, intentional foul scored. It's intentional foul is adjudicated on the floor and the goal is successful, and they just give them 1 shot. And I go, that's the FIBA rule. I go, it is? I go, yeah. Okay. All right. They don't have an intentional foul in FIBA to be an unsportsmanlike foul. I know I'm just digressing, but communicate on the penalties. Hey, wait a second. Ow. Hold up. Class B technical foul is not 2 shots. With the exception, or administrative technical foul is not 2 shots out. Oh yeah, you're right. With the exception of excessive timeout, right? Or 6 players on the court, NCAA men. So, you got to be able to communicate. Throwing spots. When can you run the end line? Okay. When can you run the end line? Big play. When can you run that end line? All right. And timeouts. another time to communicate. Hey, there's 5 seconds left. 22 to go to player. Be ready. We don't have a monitor. Sean, you got the shot. I'll help you with the lines. Marty, you got the you help Sean with the foul. Okay, things like that. You know, communication, timeouts. Another good timeout. You know, Sean, Team A, they're out of 30-second timeouts. So now we know every time we have a timeout now, we know it's a full timeout. By the way, I know a lot of you are trying to, you know, get into some form of pro basketball. Remember, in pro basketball and in amateur basketball, we have media timeouts, okay? In professional basketball, there's no such thing. They're called mandatory timeouts, okay? So when you're doing your TBL games, don't say media timeout. No, it's a mandatory timeout. Just, and I'm not getting on anybody. I just want you to start learning different products, okay? So, but know your scenarios when you can run the end line. And I'll give you an example. Doing a high school game, boom, foul. Team A can run the end line, right? Okay, and we have an intentional foul before the throw-in is ended. Well, it's 2 shots. We're going to bring the ball back at the spot of the foul, right? And guess what? They lost the right to run the end line because that's just the federation rule. Okay. All right. So we're in the NCAA, they would not lose their right to run. So just little things like that. Let's go to the next one.
Hey, Al, in this situation, I just have one thing. You know, your point is well taken in these game situations. It goes back to the awareness type thing. And then, you know, the game situations allow you to reset and try to understand the current position that you're in and getting to the finish line, right? So what you've accomplished.
Yeah, good one, Sean.
Right? I mean, what you've accomplished to this point doesn't matter anymore. It actually is going forward. How do you execute to be able to end the game correctly? Right. I had a situation this year where it happened to me 2 times in one week where coming out of a timeout, I designated this is a spot. And again, we're on video, spot, told the player spot. Guess what the player did? Took off.
Right.
To get the ball in play under pressure, game on the line.
Right.
2 times under a minute in 1 week. And it's just you refocusing and everything, and your partner's helping you, you helping yourself, you talking to yourself. But as you mentioned, Al, these situations up on the screen right now are very, very important. Very
right. And this is all about communication. It's about communication. It's about communication and knowing your product.